This episode is brought to you by Resistance Candles, high-quality wax candles that keep the flame of resistance alive.
Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus. Philippians 2, 3-5.
In our current series here on Bright Hearth on being human, we're talking about 4 aspects of life where a man or woman can grow, improve, and become more fruitful as a result. So that's the physical, the spiritual, the social, and the vocational. I think most people immediately think of the physical as one of these kinds of categories. Same with the spiritual, and even the vocational. All of those are obvious places where we spend a bunch of our time and where a lot of our fruitfulness either happens or doesn't. It's obvious that I can either neglect my body and let it fall into disrepair, or steward it well and make it a fitting servant of my mission. It's obvious to the Christian that the life of the Spirit is even more important, that even if the body wastes away, for example, our inner self may be renewed day after day in the image of its Creator. Even the vocational is obviously an area of great importance. After all, our vocations are what we do with most of our time. They're where we primarily do our duties, spend most of our time and energy, and either succeed or fail. But that other aspect of life, the social, might not immediately have come to mind. Neglecting it, though, would be a massive mistake. The social aspect of human life and being a person is one of the most powerful places where you can either walk in joy and fruitfulness or in frustration and even misery. We are not isolated atoms, each zipping endlessly through empty space, eternally alone. We were made, rather, to be like threads deeply woven together with other threads into a grand tapestry of life and history and story. Social life is integral to human life. You can't properly live without it. So in the next few episodes of Bright Hearth, we'll be talking all about friendship, hospitality, your relational network, and the skills necessary to excel in this vital part of your life. In this episode in particular, we'll focus on one of the building blocks of all of it, social graces. We hope it's helpful, and now on with the show.
Welcome back to Bright Hearth, everybody. Brian and Lexy are here for another episode.
We are locked in. We are flourishing. We're moisturized. We are in our lane. I'm in a calorie deficit, and so I'm sad.
I'm warm and cozy.
How are you? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm great.
Doing good. Excellent. Well, it's good to be back with you guys. We hope that your January is rounding out nicely and that you're, hopefully you have some snow where you are or something exciting in your life. Because right now everything is dull and has lost its sheen to me.
You're the one that decided to do this in December, just saying.
It's December as we record this. I know. I just tweeted, this is going to give away the day that we recorded this, but Calorie Surplus Brian is fun-loving. He's vivacious. He's full of life. He's strong. He feels good. Oh, you kids want to go get ice cream tonight? Great. Let's go get ice cream tonight. You know what? It's a Saturday. Who wants to go get a hamburger? Calorie deficit Brian sucks. He's no fun. He is like a sad, desiccated sack of sadness. That's what he's like. So how are you doing, babe?
I'm good.
You're doing good?
I'm covered almost head to toe in wool. When I finish my Lily bonnet, it will be head to toe. Nice. I will wear that thing.
You guys should see the bonnet that Lexi's making. Speaking of Lexy, we have a special offer on Lexi's book just for you. This is a listeners only special. We're only going to be telling people on this podcast. It's like the best deal that we've ever done on Lexi's book. So if you want to get a copy for a friend, we have a code just for you. It's all caps, tell a friend, no spaces, all caps, tell a friend. And if you buy one copy, you get the second copy for 50% off. So all you have to do is go to the New Christian and Press website. There'll be a link in the description. And then put 2 of those in the cart, use that code, and it'll give you 50% off the second book. That discount code is just going to run between midnight January 19th, so the day this episode drops. If you're listening to it, it should be live, and through 11:59 p.m. on Monday, February 2nd. So basically 2 weeks, we're going to run this code. This episode and next episode, we'll talk about it. It is limited to 1 set per order at this price and just 1 order per customer because this is like a pretty steep discount for us. But a lot of you said, yeah, I got the book. I love it. I want to buy some for friends. This is a great way to do it. We also have that bulk 1.5 discount where if you buy 5 or more copies, then you can get 15% off your whole order with that BULK15 code. But not everybody has 5 friends. So, or 5. That was sad. If you don't have 5 friends, this series, this episode is going to be.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, is this a segue?
For you. What a perfect segue into the episode body. Today we're talking about social graces and the social aspect of life. And I'm excited. I've actually been really looking forward to this section.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's so important. So let's talk about in this episode. So I'm using the phrase social graces, but really I'm talking about a lot of kind of things that orbit around that: politeness, social intelligence, emotional intelligence. I don't know. There's all these buzzwords. Etiquette. There you go. Basically, here's the idea. We don't want you all to be huge dorks. Or if you are huge dorks, like in a socially adorable way. Not like, you can be a dork. Like being a dork is fine.
I feel like that's probably me a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we don't want you to be socially awkward dorks. At least we want to minimize that. So this is very important for everybody from, single people looking for a spouse is very important. Being able to have conversations with people, know how to navigate social environments, how to make friends. We're going to talk about that in the next episode. In your job, in your vocation, like it's very difficult to excel without social graces and understanding how to navigate social environments. So we're going to be talking about this. We've called social grace and politeness love and trifles in the past. I like this phrase. I think it was Nancy Wilson or I can't remember exactly where it came from. Why do we call it that, Lexi? What does that mean, love and trifles?
It's applying love in somewhat awkward situations sometimes, knowing the right thing to do to cover over other people's rough edges, I would probably say.
Yeah.
Other people's dorkiness.
Yeah, I think of, love and trifles because some people can look at social etiquette, they can look at social graces, kind of these rules of society and cultural rules, and they can think, well, those are silly. Like, people are just being silly with those. Who cares who goes first at the potluck? Who
They're
cares?
Not being authentic.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be me. We have this very casual culture.
Yes.
And what we're talking about today isn't just like highfalutin social graces at a nice restaurant. Or actually, social graces, I almost didn't use the term because really we're talking about how to interact with people across all sorts of different settings. People can think this is just silly extra biblical stuff, but it's actually love applied to everything in life, including small things like conversations, how you make eye contact or don't. How you give a gift or don't, how you say thank you or not, how you remember somebody's name. And the other thing I think is interesting is that Scripture actually does address these things. Like the passage we read at the beginning in Philippians 2 is actually a passage, though it runs deeper than just mere social graces, but it's talking about what it looks like to set other people up for success, to make other people's comfort and ease in a situation your goal. And that's what being socially adept is. Somebody who's really, really, think of the person that that is the most socially, they're just frictionless. They can go anywhere and fit in and make friends. And what are they like? Well, a lot of the time, they're really good at making it, when you're talking to them, they're paying attention to you. Mm-hmm. And you're like, oh, they care about me.
Yeah.
This is love. But we even have proverbs that are basically social grace proverbs. Like Proverbs 25:17. It's a great one. It says, let your foot be seldom in your neighbor's house, lest he have his fill of you and hate you. That's a little social grace proverb from King Solomon.
For sure. How to be a guest in somebody else's house and not too often.
Yeah, that other one, I can't remember the address, but when he says, talking about the guy who rises early with a loud voice. We've had to talk to some of our children about this.
Yes.
Hey, at 6:17 a.m., when you rose with a joyful cry that cracked the sky, little Penny didn't appreciate it, nor did Mom, because it was not socially adept. So love and trifles is a great little phrase for this so that you properly orient this topic, not as some kind of peripheral, it doesn't really matter. Social grace, social interactions, social intelligence, these are part of love.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not naturally good at them or you feel very naturally awkward at them, don't just go, well, that's my personality.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
It's a skill.
Yeah, it's a skill, definitely. And I don't know why. Maybe it's lack of parenting, but there are genuinely added challenges, I feel like, to our generation in trying to understand some of this stuff, including things like autism, like actual brain issues that really do make it a challenge for certain people to be able to grapple with these things. And
yeah, I don't want to downplay it. Like it's think about having normal intelligence. Just you can do math really good and spatial awareness and all those things. It makes it a lot easier to go do tasks where intelligence is needed naturally. But if you don't have a high degree of intelligence, it doesn't excuse you from having to try and be intelligent about how you go about things.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with social grace. We have lots of reasons why this is difficult today.
Yeah.
From parenting to societal degradation of social grace to things like, autism and all of the reasons it's exploding. But it doesn't excuse us.
But I also think the person that this comes naturally to needs to be even more aware of that, because I think sometimes it can be like, well, why isn't this just common sense for everybody? Well, there are actual reasons.
100%.
So
let's start there.
Yeah.
Resistance Candles is a family-owned candle company that wants to inspire the spirit of 1776. They make candles with scents that are full of depth and warmth, and they're made with clean ingredients, which means no soy and no GMOs. Resistance Candles offer experiences that harken back to the time of the American Revolution, like their scent titled Liberty or Death, which has notes of cinnamon and spices, deep amber, and weathered wood. Go to resistancecandles.com, and if you buy one or more candle, you get a free candle on us. Just use code HEARTH in all caps. Why is it that most soaps and cleaning products, ironically, don't contain clean ingredients? Indigo Sundries Soap Company is helping families stay clean and healthy by starting with the most important step in cleanliness, soap. Their cold-pressed soap bars, including clay bars and tallow bars, are made from all natural ingredients that don't have any harmful chemicals. And they smell great. Visit indigosundriessoap.com and order today. And hey, subscribe for regular shipments and get 10% off every time. A good morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. You read your Bible, review your to-do list, and drink a great cup of coffee. So why would you want bad-tasting, mass-produced coffee? Lux Coffee is a Christian-owned coffee roaster that offers intentionally sourced, single-origin coffee beans. They believe that convenience is the death of quality. That's why they spend their time roasting small batches of beans to make sure that every cup of coffee tastes delicious. Start your day with coffee that is crafted for the new Christendom. You can go to luxcoffee.co and use code NCP15, that's all caps, NCP15, for 15% off your handcrafted coffee. And of course, that link is in the description below.
Let's say that you're a person who you have good intelligence, social intelligence, and like in the church environment, you are annoyed, frustrated, you have a temptation, like let's say you're a lady, you're like a socially graceful lady, and you are constantly annoyed with people in the church because the church is not a voluntary association of just people you like. It's Christians. And so you're going to be in fellowship with people that are not the upper crust of social grace.
Yeah.
What would you say to a lady like that, that might have a temptation to look down her nose or be impatient or unkind?
Well, I just think something you have told me so much over the years, because we have had very unusual people come and go because of the location of our church in Ogden.
Yeah, it's like down central Ogden.
Yeah, and so you have just reminded me, like, the Lord put these people here for us to learn to love them. Like, you think you're loving, learn to love this person.
You think you're loving when you're around people who are easy.
You might have social grace until it comes to the person you don't want to be around. And that right there is the test of, am I actually a gracious person?
Yeah, am I a Christian?
Yes.
Can I patiently endure people that I wouldn't choose to be around, like in a social circle, like in my friend group? I think part of the mercy in that is like you said, remembering that let's say you got set up really well for this.
Mm-hmm.
You had a mom and dad who like taught you some manners. Don't just assume that people are stupid and immoral if they don't know these things or if they are kind of socially awkward. Instead, part of social grace actually for the strong is to bear with the failings of the weak and to do what you can to ease and invite them in.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than like, well, that was awkward, I'm going to go talk to just the people I like at church, really try to make an effort to learn the names of and be friendly towards people who are maybe less socially adept than you. And now if you go to church this Sunday and it's full of Bright Hearth listeners and everybody's extra nice to you, you can know you're really socially awkward. I'm just kidding.
No.
I think that's an important note. I didn't even think about that. But so I think in this conversation about social graces, like social IQ, whatever you want to call it, one of the most important factors to start building this muscle is having an awareness of yourself, like having an awareness of how you are coming across to other people and what the experience of you is like. Do you agree with that? Why do you think that is important?
Yes, I definitely agree with it. I think it's important just to be aware of whether or not your actual, like in your head, you might have really good intentions. Are you actually able to execute those things? Not to perfection, but being honest with yourself, because if your goal is actually to love others and to grow in this type of maturity, you have to have some sort of self-assessment to see if you're aiming and making the mark, right?
Yes. Even in Philippians 2, not thinking more highly of yourself than you ought.
Yes.
It actually requires you to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ways we are tempted constantly is to think of ourselves more highly. We tend to think like, I'm a 8.5 out of 10 at a thing, when I'm probably actually objectively a 7.2 or a 6.3. We tend, because we're proud. We're all tempted to the sin of pride, whether in big ways or little ways. And virtue actually requires us, I think this is the point I'm trying to make, virtue actually requires us to be able to properly reckon with ourselves. What am I like? What are my virtues? What are my areas of weakness and temptation? And in this discussion, a huge part of social grace is just growing in the awareness of what you are like to other people, of how you come across to other people. People who are really socially awkward and who struggle to make friends, they struggle to, like, they find themselves in endlessly awkward conversations. A lot of the time, they don't even know that they're in endlessly awkward conversations because they have very little self-awareness.
Yeah, I think that can be a sign too, is are you regularly poking fun at yourself? If not, you might not be aware that you're the person everyone else is poking fun at when you're not around.
Ouch. Yeah, so I mean, this starts with knowing yourself. What are some ways, Lexi, do you think, like, let's say that a young woman is listening to this and she's like, has a suspicion that she's like really could grow in this and wants to get a more accurate view of herself than maybe she has. What would you say to that young woman? How could you get that?
I think definitely talking to your husband for sure. If you are married, if you have a godly mother, ask your mother because she has the most practice probably at having to point things out to you, hopefully in a very gracious way. And she's known you your entire life. So she has also probably seen you mature out of certain things that she can also encourage you in the sense of like, yeah, you really aren't doing so well here, but also remember when you were 16 and really struggling with that, you grew out of that. And I think you can grow out of this too. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So I'm just kind of like thinking in terms of line of hierarchy, husband, mother, then I would say like older woman in the church that knows you well. Don't go to someone, if you've literally never talked to her, don't go ask her. But who is the most mature of your friends that you can trust, that you know has your back and is willing to say a hard thing, but because they love you? That's probably what I would do and have done.
Yeah, that's good. Like getting a mirror of somebody else.
Yes.
That can tell you, this is how you come across. You really do have to give people permission to hurt your feelings and be blunt because most people won't. So you can tell somebody like, hey, I know you love me. We're friends. I know because you love me, you probably would want a sort of soft pedal, like not give me really direct feedback. But I'm thinking of like a young woman who's not married and she's looking for a husband and she's like frustrated. Why is this not working? Why can't I do that? Okay. Can you give me some feedback like on my social graces, on my social intelligence? Are there gaps? Are there things that I do that everybody is covering over? Little annoyances or offenses that people around me are constantly covering over. People tend to fall in one of two directions with social lack of intelligence. Like thinking of a conversation, people will typically tend to either fall towards over talking or under talking, and both can be a sign of low social intelligence.
Yeah.
Like under talking is the person that you invite over for dinner, and you are trying to pry a conversation out of them with a crowbar. You're like, hey, how was your day today? You work down at the so-and-so. How did that go today? It was good. Yes, I work there. Oh, how's your family doing? You visiting them for Thanksgiving? Like, did you do anything? Yeah, I visited them. It was good. Oh, okay, cool. Like, tell me more about your family. Oh, they live in Arizona. Someone who lives in Arizona. I think I'm talking about them.
Not him.
Evan, I'm not talking about you. You're socially intelligent. Just for the record.
Socially intelligent needs a wife.
First person that apply within. Okay. Under talking or over talking. Literally, nobody can get a word in edgewise, and if you haven't seen the Brian Regan Me Monster sketch, the comedian, you should go look it up. He's like, the guy at the party, there's, oh, me and my and I and ooh and me and my and me. And it's the guy that just talks, or woman who just talks about him or herself constantly and never asks anybody any questions about them. Doesn't take interest in anybody. Think about why both of those are actually a failure of love in trifles. Mm-hmm. Because in the one you're coming across as self-obsessed. Maybe you just don't know how to have a conversation. Could just be a skill issue. You are making it really, really hard to get to know you the way that human beings fellowship is often through words. Fellowshipping, we're learning about one another. We're transmitting information between one another. If you can't do that, so this is one area where someone might say, you might get specific. In conversation, are there like things that I do constantly?
I think part of what it comes down to for both ends of the spectrum is a failure of imagination, because you're not able to imagine what it's like in the other person's shoes to be sitting in this very awkward circumstance with you that they don't want to be in any longer.
Yes. Like my dad had a word at church growing up for an archetypal socially awkward person, one type, and it was the trapper.
Oh.
He would call him the trapper. And there was this one guy. He would always be like, it was funny. He'd be like, check 6, we got a trapper coming up. Check 6, we got to move. We got to move to the door, honey. And my mom's like a talker. She's a social butter. So she's talking to my dad's like, we got a trapper approaching, honey. We got to get to the car. And the trapper is the guy that you literally, you are 10. Wow, that was cool. 13 neats, like you've hit you're backing up slowly and he's following you and you cannot escape the conversation. A trapper.
So funny.
They're not doing that because they realize like I'm trapping people in this conversation and making it really like they want to get away from me.
Yeah.
They don't realize that.
Yeah.
So get some
And for some people, this seriously, when I've talked to ladies, who have struggled with this and they wanted to grow in this area, it has had to be as simple as, okay, tonight when we go to psalm sing and you enter the room, immediately who are the 3 people you're talking to?
Yep.
That's it. Like you have to give yourself assignments and it feels excruciating because you're not good at it, but there's no other way around it. If you're going to wait for social graces to just naturally fall in your lap or naturally feel good to you, they don't, but also understand there's no area where walking in love feels that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
People, we're going to talk more about some of these killers of social graces, important aspects, but I want to zero in on something that can be a contributing cause to people who are not good at conversation. One of them is that it's like you find this a lot in people who have had basically only dysfunctional relationships their whole life. Mm-hmm. And because of that, they often have dysfunction all over their lives. So they have lots of problems a lot of the time. Like their life is, they feel like their life is a series of problems. Mom and dad really failed. Couldn't hold a job well, financial difficulty ensues, physical health difficulty ensues because there's not a lot of self-mastery or virtue. You get a lot of these kind of things stack up. And one of the temptations that people in this situation have is to just talk about their problems to people all the time. And so every conversation becomes an oversharing of all about my problems. I am going to just give you my whole life story the first time I meet you, and it's going to be all my issues. And really what they're looking for is help.
Yeah.
They like, somebody please help me get out of these problems.
Yeah.
But it's landing them and that's sad. It's difficult in this situation where they're actually doing the very thing that makes it difficult for them to improve in all these important areas of life, even social, vocational, getting a better job. Like if you're this person, it's going to be very difficult for you to excel in a career that involves people because people are going to be like, don't put that guy in charge of anybody. Don't let him talk to customers. He can't, he is a distraction at work. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think I go back to this constantly, but this is where I think being a reader really does help with social graces because it gives you something to talk about other than yourself or other people again, of like, if that's you and that's your temptation, overshare, drama, even real things of like, they're not a part of the problem. They're not a part of the solution, so I don't need to make them part of the problem. What is one topic you can ask other people about then? Like as simple as what is a good book you've read this year? You
notice we're focusing a lot on speaking because probably 80% of social grace has to do with communication.
Yes, words.
It's words.
Words.
Let's get really practical. I think most of the rest of this episode, we're just going to be very, very practical. And I want to start by talking about some of the important aspects of social grace very practically, as well as killers of social grace, like things that immediately bring a jarring note into social interaction that are very, very conversation ending, or like all of a sudden this person is enduring you instead of enjoying you. Okay, here's one. I'll give you an example. I have a big list. You can throw more out, I'm sure. The first one is interrupting. Interrupting others is very rude, and it is a killer of social grace. When I see married couples do this a bunch, it drives me nuts. When I see a married couple, I'm meeting a married couple or something, and one is trying to talk, and the spouse keeps interrupting the other one, finishing their sentences, jumping over them, and you can see the frustration in the other person's eyes a lot of time, like, oh. It is endless. Like, this is an app, because think about what you're saying. Words were coming out of your mouth. I don't care. Shut up. I have something to say. Be quiet and listen to me. And you don't mean that, maybe. Maybe this is just a bad habit. But that is what it's communicating socially to others. Interrupting is a killer of social grace. What do you think?
Yes, I agree with you. I hadn't had the negative experience in a really long time. A couple months ago, I was with a group of women that hadn't been like around the church, like weren't steeped in refuge type culture, if you will. And this was happening the entire night. And I just felt myself getting more and more frustrated because I totally took for granted how my lady friends at church, we don't do that.
No.
But it's so normative for us that I hadn't even realized how not normal that is in other social settings.
To listen.
And it was so frustrating. And I felt myself even getting worked up in the midst of the conversation, and the temptation beginning to be like, just cut him off, get your word in, try to make a point. Because it was actually, we were having a good conversation. It would have been meaningful content, but the way they were executing it was not helpful. And maybe it's my personality. Maybe it's just like something that happens when you lead in women's ministry. If you're going to lead well, I say this to women all the time when they want to lead a group is, are you strong enough to steer the conversation if you have to?
Yeah.
Because things can go south really fast. And that part of me was coming out because I was like, this is going so poorly right now. But it was shocking to me how annoying it is.
It is. And the reason that most people are annoyed by it is because it's actually a failure of love.
Yeah.
You are not treating the other person like they matter.
No.
So if this is you, you might not even realize that you're doing this because you're so used to it.
Mm-hmm.
In a conversation, I want you to start paying attention. And before I started talking, did they get to a period?
Mm-hmm.
Did they stop? Did they ask me a question? Did they invite feedback? You're starting to learn the dance of a conversation.
Yeah. And in this setting, somebody was asking me a question that was a good question. I knew they needed to have an answer. There were other people around who were not asked the question, were not equipped to answer it, but they were the ones jumping in and interrupting the entire time. And in that situation, if I could tell that person, like, first of all, were you even asked the question? Do you have the life experience or qualification to answer that? If not,
listen,
be quiet and sit down.
It's self-awareness.
And it is an issue with women, particularly a lot of the time. And I think this is why we are the ones told regularly in scripture, be quiet. Be quiet. You don't have to get your word in. And I have told women before, like, I don't feel like my opinion's respected. Are you a respectable person? There might be a reason.
Yeah, maybe people don't respect your opinions because you actually have not earned
correct
through your fruit the right. So a lot of the time, I see this in men and women, but I see it probably 3 to 5 times more in women. And I do believe that Paul often speaks into the weaknesses of both sexes when he's addressing them. And so when he says, be quiet over and over, ladies, you need to hear, I probably need to hear that rebuke.
Mm-hmm.
I probably more than I'm willing to admit. So interrupting is, we've beat it a lot because it really is a bad one. I'm trying to like give really big E on the eye chart type of, if you're doing this, you are not skilled in social grace.
And
period.
just real quick, the way you grow in that is by being quiet. People will notice that over time that she might have something to say, but she's wise and keeps her mouth shut about it.
100%.
So anyways.
Even what you said about like when a lot of the context are groups where someone asks somebody a question. Okay, when you're in a group, part of knowing yourself is know where you stand in that group. Let's say that you're in a group with a wise grandmother, 2 peers of yourself, and then 3 teenage girls. Who should be talking the most? Now, there's lots of conversations where it might be different. Let's say it's like we're trying to learn some homemaking thing, and who should be talking the most? The wise grandmother with the really good fruit. And we should be listening. And we should be assuming that we're not going to like have as much to contribute as she will. Mm-hmm. The teenage girls should almost not be talking at all. This is really offensive to people because like in our culture, we're taught everybody's a special snowflake who has like, you have all these gifts to give everybody from your personality. Well, actually, no, a lot of times when you don't have wisdom yet, you should be silent. Mm-hmm. We tell our children all the time, it's a big challenge. One of the things I'm constantly correcting them over, be silent.
Especially in a large family.
Be silent. Listen. Wait for somebody to direct a question to you. Because we are all naturally me monsters who just want to express ourselves. And I know people can be like naturally shy and quiet, and this doesn't hit as much for you. Well, there will be things for you too, but especially for people who are talkers, you just have to be aware of this.
Yeah.
Okay, what about related to this, talking all about yourself and not asking questions of others or taking interest in others? This is a social grace killer. If you get in a conversation and you find that in most conversations, the only thing that happens is that you are telling people about you, you're probably doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. And it's probably genuinely coming from a defect of love in your character, that you love you a lot and you don't love other people a lot. And I'm putting it bluntly because even if that's not true in your heart, what you're doing in the conversation is communicating that to other people, whether you like it or not. And so we need to be careful that in conversation, we're actually conversing.
Yes. I don't remember where it was that I heard this analogy, but that conversation should be like volleying back and forth over the net. Right?
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting it.
So I've even known people that in teaching their kids this will be like, hey, catch the ball, ask me a question. You throw it back to me, I'll answer and ask you a question. But I think, so here's my experience as a mother is I'm much chattier in the morning. Imagine that.
True.
When I get to a social event at the end of the day with all the kids after a long day's work, my brain, it is genuinely a struggle for me to stay engaged in conversation. And so it is easy to talk about myself. But something that I've had to remind myself too is that it's also easy to ask somebody else a question and then just listen to them.
Yeah.
So that is something that I have tried to do is like on the way to places, like what are the 3 questions I can ask people tonight?
Yep.
I know that person was asking for prayer about that this week. I'll go follow up with them. And I actually, for me, this has allowed me over the years I feel like I have a wide net of friends because that I have followed up in lots of different avenues because of that.
Yeah.
And it's just been a blessing to even be able to talk to people about those things. But you have to have even just a reminder on your, like, when you see Psalm sing dinner, write that person's name down that you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to go talk to them.
Yep.
So
it's preparing ahead because you care about people.
Because you care about people and you don't want to talk about yourself. And it's awkward to just talk sometimes.
Yeah.
So
related to this, I think a social grace killer can be like lecturing and giving soliloquies, where this is a version of this, where you're declaiming on a subject for 20 to 30 minutes at a time. Mm-hmm. And like there are situations where it might be appropriate to give an extended, I think of my friend Eric. He's very knowledgeable. He's really smart. He's very engaging and interesting. And we joke all the time, like if you go to a conference setting, for example, whether a conference we put on or somebody else's, you will find Eric anytime there is not a talk going on, and sometimes when there is, with between 5 and 30 people surrounding him, and he is giving a talk. And it's not because Eric doesn't have social grace.
No.
It's actually because genuinely in those situations, people approach him and they're like, Eric, I want to know about this. I know you know a lot about it. And he'll give like a talk. And that's fine because it's appropriate for the setting.
Yeah.
And there are people who are like, please, you find yourself in these situations sometimes if it's, you have an area of expertise and someone in a conversation is genuinely asking you, and this is where the whole like somebody else who doesn't know anything interrupting and like trying to dominate is annoying.
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about are people who are giving the trappers, they're trapping people in conversation to give them soliloquies about things that they don't care about.
Yes.
And then you're ignoring all of the nonverbal cues that that person is trying to get away, or they literally don't care and they would like to talk about something else. You have to be self-aware.
Yeah.
Are people inviting me to give my knowledge, expertise, whatever on a subject? Or am I just interested in a thing? Like I joke right now, I told Ben when I started this like calorie deficit that I'm on, I said, Ben, I'm going to annoy you on purpose with this by giving you detailed updates that you don't ask for. And people like, I say that because when you're doing something you're interested in it, you're thinking about it a lot, you start telling people about it in ways that they literally don't care. And so I was just recognizing that. And now I'm doing it on purpose. Like every day I give Ben an update. And he'd never asked for this, nor does he want it. And I'm doing it as a joke. But some people do this without realizing. And it's not a joke.
Yeah.
They're like, can I tell you about my cryptocurrency portfolio? Like, I don't care about your cryptocurrency portfolio. Maybe I'll take an interest because I love you, but like, I don't want a 30-minute update.
Yes.
Every time I see you.
I think with women, it's often health issues.
Oh, yes.
And like food, I need this. My kid I need to cut this out for them.
I've got my gluten sensitivity.
All of these sometimes made up and not made up. Even not made up. I mean, there's been
a lot of them are real.
Times when we've had really intense health issues that it's like, but the thing is, I'm not going to go and make that the topic of conversation.
It's hilarious that we're talking about this because Eric just tweeted at me.
What did he tweet?
You're on a cut? Oh, wow. I would have never known.
Yep.
Oh, so good. Yeah, so we're aware of this. It's funny. Okay. I'll tell him about later exactly when I saw that tweet in this conversation.
I was trying to troubleshoot some social graces and like group settings with some other older women in the church recently, and we were kind of asking advice from another lady that we trust outside of the church who knows my personality really well.
Yeah.
And she was like, if you want to teach them this, Lexy, you need to be committed to not lecture. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. That is the only way, is like, show them. They grow in the social grace by seeing how awkward it is when they make me the center of knowledge and wisdom, instead of like, no, this is a participatory thing. This isn't you coming to just get stuff from me. But I just loved how she said that, is you have to ruthlessly commit yourself to not lecture.
Yep.
Wives, you know your husband would fight for your family without hesitation. But every knight needs armor, and in today's world, that means ballistic protection made for the modern defender. Armored Republic makes real armor for real men, law-abiding citizens, fathers, husbands, protectors. Visit armoredrepublic.com. That's armoredrepublic.com, or text JOIN, all caps JOIN, to 88027 and help your husband stand strong. Hey there, friends. Let me tell you about Gray Toad Tallow. They're a family-owned small business passionate about creating skincare products that nourish your skin with pure, wholesome ingredients. For centuries, tallow has been valued for its moisturizing and healing properties, and Gray Toad Tallow is dedicated to sharing these benefits with your family. They strive to keep their products affordable and accessible, aiming to be a blessing to you and your family. Visit graytoadtallow.com to learn more and try a balm sample pack. And don't forget to use code BRIGHT15, that's all caps, BRIGHT15, for 15% off your order. Thanks for supporting this great small business. Did you know that a woman's health during pregnancy can directly impact the health of her grandchildren? Generational health starts long before birth. That's why Rebecca at Live Oak Integrative Health takes a functional medicine approach, combining nurse-driven coaching, personalized testing, and practical, data-based care to help women restore balance in hormones, gut health, fertility, and weight. Plus, she can do all of that remotely via telemedicine. Visit liveoakintegrativehealth.com/hearth to book your discovery call today. Listeners of the show will receive a special rate. This cold and flu season, fortify your defenses naturally with the Kings Ridge elderberry syrup and elderberry products. They grow the freshest elderberries at their Indiana farm, cold press them into the tastiest syrup around, and they're packed with antioxidants and vitamins to boost your immune system. Use code Bright Hearth, that's all caps Bright Hearth, for 10% off your first order at tkrfarm.com. That's tkrfarm.com. The Kings Ridge elderberry syrup. Taste the difference, help push back the curse.
Another one would be poor hygiene. This is just a killer of social grace if you smell bad or you don't take care of yourself. And sometimes this is like a knowledge issue. People don't know how. But you want to be thinking about just like in your overall appearance, am I caring the most about my comfort, my ease, or am I caring about what other people are experiencing around me? This goes from how you dress to how you bathe to how...
Should we go through like a tier of order of
like how would you...
casual to most dressed up?
Yeah, and specifically for ladies and children.
Okay.
From you. I think like, okay, ladies and children, how should they be thinking about this? Because those are like, you're involved in helping little people get dressed and go out into the world. And then also ladies, I think would be appropriate. What do you think?
I think a general rule for everybody in our house is like, if you're in sweatpants, you're staying home. I don't typically like the kids, unless for some reason my boys are coming from gym class and we're going somewhere immediately, then sometimes they're in like basketball shorts. But in general, that sort of leisure gear stays home. Even then, I don't like it being the norm around here because most of our time is spent at home. So if most of our time is spent looking somewhat sloppy, not always sloppy, because people can look really put together and feminine even in that way. I think of my mom, actually. But if most of the time all your family is seeing is sloppiness, that's what you're training them towards. I would kind of say, like, for me, 1 to 2 days max am I just doing that. And the reason I am in that sort of clothing is because those are my like heavy duty work days. What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing about Eric.
Okay.
You're still, I amen to everything you just said. Okay. Eric was just making me laugh.
So So even my younger little boys, my toddler boys right now that are like, it is freezing outside and snowing and they're still wanting to wear shorts.
Yes.
I have been having to remind them, like, if we're in the house for the day, it's sweatpants. If we're going to a church event, it can be jeans or dress pants. There is no occasion right now that I'm going to see you in shorts anymore at all.
It's just a rule.
Just remind them in the morning, like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? Are you allowed to wear shorts? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So then the next tier up would be anytime and I think this was way more normal. When you're leaving the house as a woman, it used to be normal to look put together and to put on a skirt. For me, typically, that's just, I know my husband likes that. If I'm leaving the house, I am a little bit more dressed up.
You're in a dress or a skirt?
It just is how it is. I don't care. It makes me take a little extra time to look put together.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the same sort of put together as it is on a Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's different occasions.
Because I wear a head covering on Sunday morning.
I think the principle here, it's love again. This might not be obvious, but it's love. If you think about how you're dressing, when you are dressing in an abnormal way socially, and in some ways sloppiness is normal. So I'm talking about assuming that you had a healthy culture, it would be abnormal if you were the guy that always wore cargo shorts year-round in Utah because it's cold. You'd be drawing unnecessary attention to yourself, like, oh, look how quirky and weird he is. Mm-hmm. That is a proud thing to do. You're drawing attention to yourself.
Literally, like behavior that they did during the French Revolution to try to throw off cultural restraint, quote unquote, cultural restraint.
And I would add to that this can also be true in the other direction of extreme foppishness, or where a man is dressing in like a dandy, where he's going out and he's like extremely flamboyantly attentive to every sartorial detail, and he has elaborate cravats, and he is, obviously obsessed with his appearance. And people call this foppish, they call it effeminate, it's not because we're saying men shouldn't dress nicely for the occasion, but if you're dressing in a way where you are the extreme outlier against a normal, healthy average, then you're probably doing it to draw attention to yourself, and it's not like flamboyantly pink jacket or like, some, oh, look how interesting I am. You see how it's kind of proud. Mm-hmm. It's a, oh, well, that guy really likes attention type of thing. Mm-hmm. We shouldn't be doing this in any direction. And I know that for most people, that's not intentional. They didn't mean that consciously. But what I'm trying to get across is that in most of these social graces, there's a language that you don't even have to consent to that is happening, where people are reading things from your speech of how you present yourself. Whether or not you meant it from your heart, it can be read that way, and you need to be aware of that.
Yeah. I do want to say a few more basic rules for like leaving the house. It's pretty typical. I think kids' hair needs to be brushed, teeth brushed.
Yeah.
Like just basic grooming. You're going out in front of people. I think it's important for men to understand it's like not normal to just show up places in sweatpants and basketball shorts.
Yeah.
That's odd.
Yep. Yeah, love and trifles. So we want to dress for the occasion. We want to look like we care about the other people around us without coming across as like, look at me. I'm a peacock. Okay, another one, the social grace killers are like backhanded compliments, always ribbing others passive-aggressively. A lot of people, like there's a dance in male environments, ribbing is normal, like and ladies too on a certain level. Like you kind of laugh at each other's quirks, and like Eric right now is joking at me, even that thing.
Yes.
But I know Eric doesn't actually, he knows that I'm being intentionally funny about it. And so it's funny. Now, if I really had some deep character flaw, and my friend Eric or all of my friends just constantly ribbed me about it in ways where they were like, oh no, I'm just joking, man. But they're really not joking. They're actually just trying to avoid having a direct conversation with me.
Yeah.
Where, or there's like envy, or there's real bitterness of heart behind a barb. Mm-hmm. And you're not actually joking or ribbing or upbuilding. Yeah. You're really trying to cut. If you find yourself as the guy who's constantly, your tongue is acid, you're always sarcastic, you're always ribbing others, and you're really not. You're actually just being a jerk. You're giving backhanded compliments constantly. You're being passive-aggressive. That is a social grace killer because, again, it's a failure of love.
I think ladies do this via social media and text messages. but they don't do it in person quite as much. But I
Yeah.
think that should be just as dangerous of like, if you can't say that same thing to their face, make sure you're not slighting them
Yep.
via a text message or a comment on social media.
Yeah. We're dishonoring other people in public
Yes.
constantly in the I'm just ribbing you. No, you're actually dishonoring them. That's not good. Okay. So helpers of social grace. I'm gonna list a couple, and then we can end this episode with a few like social grace hacks. Just things that automatically elevate any social interaction. So helpers would be like politeness and proper decorum for various situations. Basically learning the rules, the standard rules for the various parts of your life. Going to church has certain rules for social interaction.
Mm-hmm.
A potluck at church has certain rules for social interaction.
Mhm.
And there's a bunch. We can't go through all of them. At
Yeah.
a potluck, it's things like women and children first. Don't take too much food. Don't take all of the best thing that everybody would want. There's some delicious, Mrs. Taylor made some fried chicken, and you're the third person in line. And everybody wants Mrs. Taylor. This is a real situation, by the way. Everybody wants Mrs. Taylor's fried chicken. And you just say, oh, I'm first. And you take 80% of it. Obviously, that would violate the unwritten rules of a potluck.
Yeah.
Learning the rules of various social environments and then making sure that generally you're obeying them. There are exceptions here and there, but like you're obeying them. This is an automatic helper of social grace.
Mm-hmm.
I think of remembering and using people's names. Again, do I love this person? Well, I can't even remember their name. We've met 16 times. I probably don't love them. Like, making eye contact appropriately and smiling. Introducing others when meeting people. Asking others questions about themselves, taking interest in conversation. Active listening. Trying to set other people up in conversations to look good. Expressing thanks and gratitude. Like, think about in a conversation, the guy who's always like, man, yeah, Ethan's really great at this. Ethan, why don't you tell the guys how you did this? Instead of, well, me and myself and I'm so great. You're not the best at everything in the world. Honor other people.
Mm-hmm.
And when your lips honor other people, it invites honor.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's the motive, just to get honor myself, but this is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
People who honor others are often honored by others.
Mm-hmm.
These are some just helpers of social grace.
Mm-hmm.
Any other big things that come to mind? And then I have a few hacks because in our day, we're all about hacks.
No, I don't. I think everything I'm thinking is probably more along the hack line.
Okay.
Maybe? Question mark.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of those. These are things that
Okay.
automatically elevate any social interaction. I'll give an example and then you can just fill in. Writing thank you notes to people.
Mm-hmm.
Automatic elevation. My friend Kevin, Headmaster Love,
Mm-hmm.
he's great at this. When I was first getting to know him, I can't remember the context. Maybe we had him over for dinner or something. And
We
He
took
wrote-
them dinner after they had a baby, like moving here within a few days.
like within a week, he had
Yes.
sent a handwritten thank you note to us. And I was like, he learned this at the Air Force Academy, didn't he? That was my first thought. Like, this is a decorum thing. But it was so awesome. It was just like, that wouldn't be a normal thing in the past, but now it's kind of, it automatically elevates, like, you're thinking.
Yeah.
What comes to
It
mind for you?
really, really does. I think dressing up even just a tiny bit for whatever you're doing just really it just kind of dignifies your activities.
Yeah.
So I think that's just really overlooked in today's culture for sure.
Yes. Like showing honor to other people by,
Mhm.
I cared enough about this thing
Mm-hmm.
coming over to your house for dinner
Mhm.
that I put on a nice button-up shirt.
Mhm.
And I, after work, like took a second, did some grooming
Mhm.
because I care about you.
Mm-hmm.
If I were meeting a dignitary, I wouldn't come in my sweatpants.
Yeah, there are times I'm thinking of it when you guys are all out of town. Paige and I are like, it's sweatpants and ice cream, right? Okay, good.
Let's clarify the context.
Those are like good friend context, though, where the guys aren't around sort of a thing. But yeah.
Another one would be thoughtful and appropriate gifts.
Mm-hmm.
When you know somebody's birthday in your social circle, and not extravagant, not like,
No.
what in the world, you're going to go broke, but just a thoughtful gift.
Because that's awkward, too, when you're like, you shouldn't have.
You really
You
should. Now
really
I owe
shouldn't
you.
have.
Now I owe you. my friend Ben is really good at this. Ethan's really good at this. I know guys who are way better at this than me, and it is good because it challenges me to go, oh, I should be more like those guys. They're because that shows that there's some aspect of their virtue and character that's better than mine, that they thought about this. They care about people, like huge, thoughtful, and generous, appropriate gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Being thoughtful and generous in bringing food to potlucks or other people's houses automatically elevates. If you're the family that every week everyone knows, they bring, first of all, enough food for their family and for an additional people. And they thought about it. It was really good. Like there are a couple ladies that everyone goes at Psalm Sing, we have a potluck every week. And they're like, what did Paige bring this week?
Mm-hmm.
I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I know, I'm definitely going to make sure that I get at least a little bit of that because it's going to be really good. That's thoughtful. That's polite. Versus like, yeah, I mean,
it was quick. Kraft macaroni and cheese from the box again.
and I brought me and my 3 kids, and I brought enough food for like one person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're actually like the welfare queen of the potluck.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, if you're a guest, you're out of town, you don't have a lot of money, come and eat. Don't worry about it. But when we're thinking about growing in maturity, we should be thinking about what is the model.
Yes.
A smaller version of the thank you note is like texting somebody after visiting.
Mm-hmm.
When you get home, say, hey, just got home. Thanks for having us over. That was great. Really appreciated your hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing a small gift when you are hosted by somebody.
Mm-hmm. This is why I love to can food all year long, because I love having different things to take people and say, this was our favorite. We think you'd like it with
here's
this.
some jam.
And, yeah.
Not elaborate, not $100 gift, a small token of I thought ahead, I cared about you. Complimenting somebody sincerely in public or before others automatically elevates.
Mm-hmm.
And one way you can compliment people is by identifying, because you know them, an area where they have expertise, and asking them a genuine question and saying, guys, I was wondering about this. I know that this, Paige or Ethan, or they're really good at this. What do you think about that? And you're giving them an opportunity to demonstrate something they have mastery in, which people want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about doing this in like a mercenary way. If you're doing these things genuinely from love, they are meaningfully socially glorious.
Mm-hmm. I will often do this in the context of somebody coming to me with a specific advice or counseling type question where I'm like, I know XYZ woman is much more well-suited to answer that. Go, I'm going to tell them I sent you. Please go follow up with them because same thing.
Yeah, exact same.
It honors what the Lord did in other people, and it honors those people as well.
Yes. Related to this, when you hear something good about someone, tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, oh, hey, Joe told me that last week when his car broke down, you came over on a Thursday night and spent 3 hours helping him fix it. That was awesome. Thanks for doing that. Like,
I think these are the sort of things that stir one another up to love and good works. Like your good works of honoring them continues to stir them up to other good works. And it's just like a big circle of good work soup.
And it helps. That's great. That's good. It helps people obey the proverb, let another's lips praise you and not your own.
Yeah.
When there's no honor, people constantly try to honor themselves.
Yes.
But when you have a culture of honor where you're honoring one another, this is why the constant ribbing thing, you have to be careful with it. It can be a masculine friendship thing, but if there's never any honor, you're actually creating a very bad culture.
Yeah, and I think too, we're talking about kids at a separate episode, huh?
We'll talk about teaching kids social grace, but feel free to drop
Well,
something
I was
here.
just thinking, like, with a lot of children, for kids, it can sometimes feel like there's not enough of mom to go around. I have to be the loudest, talk about myself the most. And I think it really is important for moms to remember to bestow honor, especially on their boys.
Absolutely.
Of like, don't try to negate how much you're criticizing publicly versus praising publicly versus praising privately, even of like, I know this has been a really hard, last week for you, but I see you striving. I see you trying to do that. Same thing with your daughters, because I think sometimes moms can be harder on daughters.
Sure.
We're like, I'm a woman, I can do it. Why can't you?
And dads can be harder on sons.
So I've been trying to do that, especially with the girls, of like, come alongside them. It was really hard for mommy in the same way when I was your age, but I've seen you growing in that, and give them like tasks where they can rise to the occasion of acting honorably. Like last week with Daphne and I left and she was the babysitter for Penelope. I mean, you were here,
Yeah.
but I told her you're fully in charge. Do not leave her. You need to feed her, XYZ. I got a good report from Dad. And so I told her the next day, you did it perfectly. Daddy said you were great. You did exactly what I asked. You're going to be a great babysitter, like all of that. So helping set people up for the occasion of being honored too it takes thought beforehand to do that.
Yeah. In public even.
Mm-hmm.
Some examples would be, at a get-together where you're at a friend's house or a couple friends are over at someone's house and you see like Daphne or Winifred doing a really good job helping a little person eat. Great job, Winifred. That was really good. Thanks for taking the time to do that.
I have another example too that I thought of recently that was genuinely very meaningful to me was seeing how many men stepped up to the security team.
Yeah.
And there was no way. I was trying to figure out, I'm like, I want all of the women in the church to realize, one, I get the sacrifice. My husband, most of the Sundays, isn't there to help me. I get what a sacrifice that is to have your husband go do something ministry related on Sundays. But I also want the other women to see, wow, we should honor these women and these husbands for doing this. And so I posted it in the group actually and just said like, I see it. I want everyone else to see it. This is a good thing. Let's all call it what it is. Thank you. This is great. You're protecting our families.
Yep.
Because I couldn't really figure out how to do that in a public setting. The church is just way too big. But it was incredibly meaningful given everything that's been going on the last couple months of the church. So,
Even just like, hunting trip, Ari's out with me at elk camp or something, and you're talking before the other men. Say something honorable about your son. Mm-hmm. Ari did a great job in this. It was really like it's his first time elk hunting. He did a really good job of handling his rifle very responsibly. I know he would have hit that, even though we didn't get an elk this time, I know because he's been practicing, he would have been ready to do it if one had come into his sights. Like, that's a huge thing for a young man to hear his dad say before other men. Mm-hmm. So the temptation for men can be always tearing down as a joke, because there is a test that you give other men. Can you handle being ribbed? Mm-hmm. Are you strong enough, or will you be thin-skinned? Mm-hmm. That's an important test, but it's also important that we build up, that we honor, that we love. So do this for your kids.
I've been praying about that too, of like, I know because I have a lot of children, a lot of my time with my words is spent instructing.
Yeah.
But I need the wisdom to do it in a way that builds up and doesn't tear down.
That's right.
And I've been praying that a lot. Like, I know I can't just not do it. It doesn't mean to ignore the task of instructing and correcting, but I need your help to do it in a way that is like honey on the tongue, that they want to follow through. Help me. I can't do this on my own.
Yes. Amen. Well, guys, that's all we have for this episode. Next week, we'll be talking about how to make friends like it's all up to you, because it just might be. And another really important topic in this social aspect of life. If you love what we do at Bright Hearth, and if it's helped you and your family and you want to help us keep going, do consider becoming a monthly patron at patreon.com/brighthearth. And you may not know it, but more than half a dozen people are involved in making every episode of Bright Hearth happen here at New Christendom Press. And that's a great way to support the show and also get access to our weekly show In the Kitchen, where Lexy's usually, giving ladies some kind of quick, granular sort of advance on the topics that we've discussed today. Any ideas of what you're going to be doing for this week's In the Kitchen on social grace that we just talked about?
Nope.
But it's going to be good.
I just thought of it. So.
It's going to be really, I meant to ask you before.
Okay.
It's going to be really good. And just remember that if listener special only, if you'd like to buy one, get one 50% off of Lexy's book, Wisdom on Her Tongue, head to newchristendompress.com, put 2 in your cart, and use the code, all caps, tell a friend, no spaces. And that's our thanks to you for being a faithful listener of Bright Hearth and making this show happen week after week. God bless you guys. We'll see you in the next episode.